When I used to stream on Twitch, I would use the tag visual ASMR. Because I'm so hot, right?
And did that generate a lot of viewers for you?
Nope.
Okay. Well, with that...
What's up, guys? It's your boy, Willy Wanker, here with another Kakistocracy podcast. Today we're talking about a man who used to fiddle while his empire burned. We're talking about everybody's favorite, first century? I don't know dates. I don't know if we established this in the last episode. I can't even peg things in the last century, apparently.
You're from Georgia, like the whole counting thing, once you get above 10, I assume that becomes more difficult.
That? What?
Paul?
There's numbers higher than 10, but I ain't got but 10 fingers. I guess there's people with more than 10 fingers, and
after that you do 10-1 and 10-2.
10-1, 10-2, 10-3. Oh, okay.
I mean, that is fundamentally what base 10 is. 10-1, 10-2.
I'm doing this racist caricature of a Southern person, but unironically, when I talk to some of my family members, my Southern accent will sneak out.
My dad kind of has that happen because he's lived in the Midwest for 3 decades. But he's from Virginia originally, lived there till he was 20 or something. And sometimes we'll go back there and it'll just magically start to remanifest itself. Yeah.
The funny thing is, I grew up in the South, but both of my parents are from the North. So I feel like I don't really have a Southern accent. But I do occasionally say y'all, and every time I do, I just fucking cringe and part of me dies inside. But
I feel like everybody... I feel like everybody from our generation on just has a TV accent. We listen to more people talk on the television.
Everyone's going to sound like Joe Rogan in 10 years.
Oh, God. Alex Jones walking around everywhere.
Oh, no. Now let me tell you, the Starbucks down on the corner is the one you really want to go to, okay? They got the good... Okay, yeah, that would not be great. Anyway, I'm Paul. This is the Kakistocracy podcast, as Dylan introduced. Today we're talking about Nero. And yes, he is indeed from the 1st century AD, as in the very first one before you hit double digits.
Oh, I pegged that? I got that right?
Yep.
Fuck yeah, I'm the greatest of all time. The GOAT, baby. I watch so much History Channel. Come at me. I got facts.
Yeah, bitch, you don't have cable.
Got facts about ice truckers.
I had dish
about Pawn Stars.
Dude, first season Ice Truckers was some pretty good shit. They turned it into some reality TV shit in the second season, but it used to be some good ass.
My dad was super into that shit. Also, I'm Billy. I didn't introduce myself. Hi.
He's the intern. He got me the coffee.
I made myself coffee too.
Incidentally made himself coffee while getting coffee.
Yes, the intern is allowed.
I stole it. I stole the coffee that I bought.
Okay. Yeah.
Alright, so Robert De Niro.
So yeah, the last few episodes I felt like we were getting progressively closer to modern day and we were going to just run out of time or something. Because we started with King John, right? The very first one. We go all the way back to,
Reset!
King John was 1200s. Hamilton brings us to the late 1700s. Tsar Nicky's, early 1900s. And then finally the chicken tax was in the 1960s. So I felt like we were just edging a little too close and we better go back for the 5th episode. And... we went all the way back to about as far as we can go while still technically being in the AD calendar. So
yeah, it's pretty fucking close to it.
Yeah, so we're talking about when the years are... Every year I mention in this episode, at least in terms of the ones that happen during the main, course of the episode about Nero's life, are going to be in double digits. So... This is
that's pretty baller.
Yeah.
Yo, what? Yeah, what year? I always mess up the year. Like every time it changes from like 17 to 18, I always find myself still writing 17 like until like March. Did that ever happen to you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Remember checks? Remember when you had to deal with checks?
Yes, I
Yeah.
do.
I guess some people still do.
I bet that was not a problem in the single digit years.
I
It's
don't
like
think a lot of people were writing
year
checks back then.
2. No, I mean
Was
just
it?
like writing the
It,
wrong date.
Well,
it probably wasn't year 2 to them.
yeah, I can't remember exactly what calendar they were on, but like, yeah, they weren't, they hadn't reset at this point because the whole, obviously our current year structure is kind of based off of Jesus, and he wasn't well liked by the people in power to do stuff at the time he was actually alive. So I don't think they were super interested in basing their calendar system off of him at
Fair
that
enough.
particular moment in time.
So I always wondered with shit like this, like history that's this far back, right? All we know is just from writings
Yeah,
that we
there's.
found,
I'm gonna
right?
mention that a
Like,
few times. We're gonna have a few things that it's like this might have happened, but
yeah, I assume there's a lot of ambiguity. Like,
every time you get this far back in history, you start to get into a lot of like, well, this guy said this, and like we have this guy, and he seems to be referencing a different document, but we don't have that original document that he was referencing. So
Yeah.
like, you get into a lot of like, a 2,000-year-old game of telephone being played, and so there is going to be some probably. If you have
People can't even agree what happened like a few hundred years ago. So.
People can't agree what happened in court like 18
Yeah.
months ago. So
I was gonna
like,
say people can't agree on what happened last year. Like,
yeah, like
But-
there's gonna be a lot of, and then it also depends on obviously like who writes it down because they're gonna have their own spin on what happened. Like,
yeah,
so who's making the history? So, dear listener, if you ever at some point in your life acquire a time machine and go back in time to observe Nero's life, and it's way different than what I'm about to describe, I sincerely apologize. But until then,
Well, this is like, what if Nero actually played electric guitar instead?
that's probably
Like
what was
Marvel's,
happening.
what if Nero found the Iron Man serum and
What-
became Iron Man?
Well, the first thing I'll cover actually, because I'm sure a lot of people at least recognize the name Nero, and they kind of maybe associate a little bit of negativity with it, just generally because of like references in modern culture. And they probably know a little bit about the story of Rome's burning and Nero's on the rooftop fiddling. That's
That is pretty fucking baller.
It's
That's
made all
pretty-
the more impressive by the fact that the fiddle wouldn't really be invented for about 1,000 years afterwards. So that's pretty cool that he was up there fiddling while Rome was on fire.
he was definitely a time traveler. That is confirmed now.
Yeah, so on
Well, I would imagine maybe he had like a bowed.
Yeah,
lyre.
that's the theory. If he was playing some sort of instrument, that's what they figure is he was probably playing one of the other early stringed instruments, but definitely not a fiddle as we would conceive of one today anyway. But what is true, Nero led a very cruel and very debaucherous life. He married 5 different people. He had his own mother killed. He was famous for just killing a bunch of people
Well,
generally.
spoilers. Come on, let's tip our toes into it
I'm
first.
sorry.
Damn, dude, you're just going right in. Why don't we just bullet it all out and they can read all the juicy details
just
for
like
themselves?
a 5-sentence explanation and be like, all right, that's the podcast.
All right, that's the podcast. Yeah,
Hell
Nero was
yeah.
a bad dude.
Dylan said he
do
wanted
that.
to leave early to get dinner, so that's all we have time for. Goodbye.
We should do some shorts.
Okay. So
So,
we'll start with a very brief recap of Roman history up to this point, and I will be as brief as possible because Rome is obviously a gigantic continent spanning empire that lasted many centuries, so I'll try and keep it mostly relevant to what's actually going on during Nero's rule, and give it a very brief background for people that don't know so much about it. Rome's founded in 753 BC. And for basically 500 years, it never really extends outside of what we would consider modern day Italy. But in the 200 BCs, Rome begins to kind of, stretches out a little bit. It's getting a little cramped there in the Italian peninsula, I suppose. And they start expanding.
Das Boot, as they call it.
Yep, Das Boot, exactly. They start expanding into like Albania and the southern coast of France and Spain, and it's like at that point that it just really starts to take off. And Rome is technically still a republic at this point, with like senators and elected magistrates who are all in charge. There is no like emperor. And it's not until after 27 BC that Rome has pretty much already conquered a gigantic amount of the Mediterranean that it's finally reorganized into the first galactic empire.
Yo, so like the whole Egyptian UFO theory?
Uh-huh.
Why isn't there like a version of that for the Romans where they're actually a galactic
There
empire?
probably is. Like, how
Right,
could there
well,
not?
When in Rome. I'm gonna make that joke like 6 times tonight. Just so
Have
you
you
know.
ever noticed how like in DC all of our architecture is like modeled after Rome?
Yep.
I wonder if
Yes.
that's like foreshadowing in any way.
I've thought about that multiple times about, how when the Republic was on the rocks, it wasn't that, the Empire just, or I shouldn't say the Empire, the Republic just, collapsed and like anarchy ensued and then like new states rose up. It's like, no, they went through a process of being a totalitarian empire for a few hundred years first. That's
Well,
just,
good thing stuff like that never happens anymore.
yeah. Anyway, so I'll probably get executed for just saying that at some point in the future when the Ministry of Truth goes back and listens to all of my recordings.
I feel
But cool.
like our dystopian nightmare will be far less precise. They're gonna be like, okay, kill everyone who has a dancing TikTok because it's degeneracy, or
Yeah.
like kill all the I don't know, kill all the people who don't have Beats by Dre because
Oh,
they're
no.
not woke.
I'm gone, dude.
I'm dead too. Yeah, my wife's gonna make it though, thankfully.
That's
so
some
that's good.
expensive,
good.
mediocre headphones.
That's what I've heard. I've heard they're not great.
I think she won them at some sort of college thing. So, but yeah. Anyway, this has a lot to do. Anyway, the reorganization of the Roman Empire, or the Roman Republic into the Roman Empire, has a lot to do with the misadventures of a certain man named Julius Caesar, famous salad maker, and resulted in a man named Octavius renaming himself Caesar Augustus and becoming the first official Roman emperor.
Hell yeah.
He's such a big deal that the Roman Senate, because the Senate still technically exists, it's just, the emperor's mainly the one in charge now.
Didn't this all start with the taxation of trade routes?
Yes.
I'm sorry, you already made that joke.
And it was Jar Jar was the one actually Roman Emperor Jarius Caesar. The translation changed a little over time. That's where we would get Julius from now.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So, but yeah, the Augustus is such a big deal that the Senate changes. You know Sextilis from a couple months ago, the month of Sextilis. Yeah, so they actually changed that into
What?
Augustus.
I'm sorry, what fucked up calendar are you using?
The Senate changed the month of
The
Sextilis.
month of Sextilis?
Yeah.
Sextilis? Is that the month where everybody humps?
That's what August used to be
What is
called. Before it was renamed after Augustus.
Ah.
So
Interesting.
yeah, that's where we get that. It's always interesting through history when you find the little bits of things and how it's all a mishmash too, right? Because it's like you get like August, right, from like Emperor Augustus, in Rome, but then like Thursday, wasn't it like Thor's Day? Wasn't that how we got that, or is that heresy? Am I like misquoting history there? Like,
Bro, I have literally no idea.
I don't know. Anyway, so Augustus will reign until 14 AD, and Nero was born in 37 AD. So the Roman Empire is still like a pretty young thing when Nero's born.
Yeah.
So Rome during Nero's life has expanded to cover the majority of the lands that we would generally think of as the Roman Empire. Basically, the entire like Mediterranean coastline is under Roman control. You know, North Africa, Egypt, Israel, Turkey, Cyprus, Crete, Greece, Italy, Spain, Portugal, France, and all the way up to southern England, and even to the Crimea and the Black Sea. So it's pretty big for, you know, a country around this time. And this is more or less going to be the extent of Roman territory for hundreds of years. Nero's a bad leader, but he's not the one that drags the empire down with him, and Rome's not going to like collapse necessarily because of his actions, although it does get a little shaky by the end of it.
I mean, it's kind of, I imagine it a lot of times, like, he's probably just the man of the hour, but if he wasn't there, it would have been somebody else. You know?
Well, and also, like, the personal life of the emperor, like, at this time, you'd have to really be outgoing to... I think the institutions of Rome are still relatively strong at this point, so to speak. And that's really what, like, keeps an empire going to an extent, is if, like... the bureaucracy sort of keeps working and holds together, then like even if the emperor's an idiot, like you can forge on ahead.
Well, then we must be in a great situation.
Yeah. Anyway, so Nero is born to Gnaeus Domitius Enobarbus, which is a mouthful, and then Agrippina.
You, sir, are a mouthful.
And then Agrippina the Younger. Agrippina is way easier to say. I don't know why.
How much younger? Are we talking French tendencies?
Well,
again?
No, it's so.
There it is.
It's that there was her mom is also named Agrippina, so it's just Agrippina the Elder and Agrippina the Younger. That's just how they differentiate them in history, I guess.
We need to get like a fucking air horn or something for whenever French tendencies gets brought up.
You need to clip a soundbite from The Professional or Les Professionnels.
Les French tendencies. Oui, oui.
Oh.
The one where we gawk at like a 14 Natalie Portman.
So both of Nero's parents are Roman nobility. They frequently do political shenanigans, but principally Agrippina is going to be a little more notorious, and right from the start, little Nero is going to have a bumpy life. I guess I should technically say Nero isn't his birth name. His original name is Lucius Domitius Enobarbus.
Lucius?
Yes, Lucius.
Lucius?
Which I feel
Lucius?
Nero is kind of an evil-sounding name, right? But, like, Lucius is also a kind of evil-sounding name.
I don't know. Nero's a pretty cool name.
I'm trying to, like, think of how to say Lucius in an Italian accent. I don't know if I can Hey, it's Lucius over here. See, that's more Jersey, though. Epe, I got a Lucius.
Lucius.
Yeah, it's an Italian name that doesn't end in I-O. I don't know how to say it.
Yeah.
Hey, Lucio!
Yeah, Lucio. There you go.
Yeah,
I'm 1/4 Italian. I can say these are my words. Okay, you can't use these.
God.
I ate pasta last night, so I think I can probably say things like that too, right?
Fair enough. I'll give you a Guido pass.
Okay, thank you.
God.
So, I'm technically German, so we're buds, right? We still got the Axis powers.
Oh yeah, we fucked up World War II together.
Yeah. Okay.
Nice.
My great grandfather actually did fight for the Italian fascists.
There you go.
Yay!
Okay. Nero is born during the reign of Tiberius. but he dies when Nero's a toddler. So Caligula ascends to the throne.
Oh, I know that one. I've heard that one.
And Caligula is the brother of Agrippina. That's, Nero's mom. But there's, no sibling love here. So Caligula accuses Agrippina, right, of having an affair with Marcus Lepidus. There's going to be a lot of names in this first section. Sorry, it's going to get a little easier as we go along.
This is like a soap opera.
Yeah,
I'm on the edge of my seat.
We're rolling out a new character every 10 minutes here, throughout a whole season.
This is like an anime.
Yeah. It's like most of these will be unimportant, but we have to introduce them and give them a quick backstory anyway. So
I was gonna say Nero sounds like an anime protagonist name.
Honestly, yeah. So Caligula is accusing his sister of, sleeping with Marcus Lepidus, who is another possible heir to the throne. And he's like, oh, she's probably doing it to, get close to him. And then, hopefully he'll be emperor.
She just can't wait to be queen.
Right. And then, so as a result of this, he has her exiled. Meanwhile, Nero's dad passes away when he's 3. So Nero's father will be one of the few guys to luck out with just dying of natural causes in this story.
Oh, good.
Wait, how old was he?
I don't unfortunately have a record for how old he is, because a lot of people at this time in history, unless they were very important, we really don't know exactly when they were born or when they died.
He was 19.
Yeah, it's possible.
The ripe old age of 35.
This is all happening when Nero's very young. But I don't want to say thankfully for his sake, but for his mom's sake. I don't know. Caligula dies after just 4 years. And so as a result of that, Agrippina gets to be unbanished.
Aww.
Coming to the throne after Caligula is Claudius.
Oh, I know that one.
Yeah, and Claudius, through political connivings, and also because Agrippina was one of the last remaining descendants of Caesar Augustus, marries Agrippina in 49 AD. That's the interesting thing, at this point. It's weird, and that's part of why, all these royal lines get so incestuous, right? It's this stupid obsession with, so can be the most pure descendant of the first guy, right? And it's so you end up with people marrying their cousins, because that way you have a pure bloodline.
This is why The Last Jedi is good. Is because obsessing over bloodlines is stupid and gross.
Thank you.
All right, it was gross. It was gross when the Romans did it. When the royalty does it, it's gross. When eugenics does it, it's gross. People, stop it. Everyone is supposed to fuck everyone. Okay, that's why things fuck, is to mix the genes. You're supposed to mix the soup. We're supposed to come up with new flavors, like Ben and Jerry's.
Good soup.
Like Dr. Pepper, 23 unique flavors.
Yeah, they're perfect.
What would Nero's ice cream be called?
Oh no!
Nero fiddlestick.
Something with fire.
Butterscotch.
Something with burning, maybe. Fiddlestick. Fiddlestick does sound good though. Yeah.
Some kind of cinnamon ice cream or something.
Cinnamon fiddlestick.
Perfect.
There we go.
Okay, so so Agrippina pushes Claudius really hard to declare Nero as his heir, right? So Claudius already has a son from a previous marriage, Britannicus, but Britannicus is still a kid, and Nero is 13, which basically is almost a man at this point in history.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's only going to live another 8 years, so.
And Nero is declared heir to the throne, and they further solidify this by having Nero marry Octavia when he's 16. Octavia's Claudius's daughter, so Nero marries his stepsister, who is also like his cousin or something.
Help me,
Nice.
stepbrother. I'm stuck in the throne.
There you go.
Oh my god.
I mean, I guess it's better than marrying his actual sister, which is another thing that happens sometimes.
I was gonna say, we know that's happened in history
Yeah.
multiple times.
So at least
Hey, but you know what the plus is? Cheap wedding.
I don't think so. I feel like when royalty gets married, it's never cheap.
Well,
Yeah.
fewer seats. Here's the thing though, is like fewer seats, fewer meals, right? So that's less cook to cook. You get what I'm saying?
True, you only have
smart.
one family to deal with.
Yeah, you only have to rent out half of the chapel.
God.
Everyone's sitting on one side of the aisle and the other side's just empty.
Yeah.
Which is yeah, anyway. Oh well. One of the stupidest parts of any royal dynasty is just how quickly it all just goes so messed up. Yeah, the only thing stupider than like picking your leader through popularity contests is like picking them based on who has like the most direct bloodline to some dude who used to be in charge.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Claudius dies the next year, and it's highly rumored that he might have been poisoned by Agrippina.
Oof.
Yeah, so Agrippina really wanted... I think Agrippina basically wanted to be in charge of Rome, right? But, like, she basically couldn't be at this point on account of being a chick. So,
Yeah.
like, I think
So she's a girl boss. Fucking go get it.
So she's gonna, like,
Hell yeah.
manipulate her, like, the person she wants to be emperor, and then hopefully she'll, pull all the strings through him, I think is kind of her goal, right?
I mean, yeah, as shitty as that is pretty gangster.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
Yeah, so Agrippina really wants Nero to be the emperor. That's definitely not going to come back to bite her later. So Nero takes the throne, following his adopted father and father-in-law.
I imagine the way you said that. I imagined it as like a board game. He goes around the map, and now it's like, oh, I'm in the space, and I take the throne. Give me the little like metal like leaf thing that wraps around. You know the thing.
What's that
Yeah,
game?
I know, right? We know the thing.
Have you ever played that
The
game?
Crown.
It's like a gym yard game where it's like Foursquare, but they specifically call it where it's like you go through the progress of being like the jester and then the knight and then the queen and the king or something like that. You got to bounce the ball out of the square to get the other person out to move up.
Isn't that just Foursquare?
Yeah,
It
okay.
just
now
sounds
that-
like Foursquare
it's-
with extra steps.
It's been a long time since I played Foursquare.
I have
must-
never heard of
There's
this.
President and Asshole. President and Asshole.
I've never played that.
Aren't they the same thing?
That's a card game.
Ooh. No, I didn't.
Political. We don't want to get political here on this history podcast.
No.
I want to just congratulate Joe Biden as the first beef jerky president.
I think you've made some comment about Biden every episode.
I'm pretty sure.
Just something in passing.
Something about him just being not entirely alive every episode.
Teleprompter.
Dude, if he were to do, it's Halloween soon, if he were to do a Crypt Keeper special at
my
my house,
God.
I would be such a happy boy. Hello, boys and ghouls!
That would be so good.
What would Kamala Harris
I know
be
Joe
for
Biden's
Halloween?
reading or listening.
Oh, she would
right
be
now,
like
so.
an Elvira thing, right?
Oh, yeah, that could be cool.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, the whole cabinet could dress up and we could do like the Munsters with I don't know, who's the doctor now? I don't know. We don't want to get into all that shit. Anyway, let's talk about another crumbling empire that we have some perspective on because we're not standing in it.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, Nero takes the throne. Nero to throne B or whatever.
Hell yeah.
It's about 2 months before he turns 17. He becomes emperor. I like to imagine him like, I know it's anachronistic, but he like gets a driver's license and then gets like a car and then like like, here's your new car, and here's the Roman Empire. Like, I don't know. Sorry, that might sound dumb, but that's just what I kept thinking of. Like, turn 16.
All right, before you take the turn, you have to learn how to parallel park it first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
16 years old. He's got a wife. He's the emperor. So.
It's like the first thing you're gonna think of though is like, how much of an asshole was I at 17?
Oh yeah, like this is not going to go well. Obviously.
No, I'm sure it's
Yeah.
fine.
So-
I'm sure it's fine.
So Nero becomes emperor late in the year 54 AD, and already by early 55, things are starting to, churn a little bit. You see, like, his mom, Agrippino, or Agrippino, not Agrippino.
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 I just want to go into a musical. Agrippino, Agrippino. Why don't you touch my pino?
Oh, no. That's pretty good, though. So, yeah. So, like I said, she wanted to be the emperor, and she really wanted to be the shot caller, even if she wasn't going to get to be, like, the actual emperor. And
Yeah.
So yeah,
pull the
so
strings.
She doesn't want to wait. She doesn't want to waste her shot.
But-
That's what you're saying.
Yeah, but Nero actually, I guess, doesn't really want to get pushed around quite as much as she thought he was going to get. And
He's a hormonal teenager.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's 17. He's,
yeah, exactly.
You're
You
not my
can't
boss,
tell me what to
Mom.
do, Mom.
I want to get a mohawk, and you can't stop me. I'm the emperor.
You know what? Everyone's going to get a mohawk. I decree
Yeah.
it.
Oh yeah.
So to try and extort him, Agrippina threatens to throw her support behind Britannicus, right? That's Claudius's, first son, and say that he should be the emperor. And Nero's only been in power for a few months, right? So typically these regimes are most vulnerable right as they get started. So this is a credible threat, especially since Britannicus is about to turn 14. And in Roman tradition, that would make him a man. So the more eligible for the throne, once he's a man. So,
Naturally.
right. So conveniently, Britannicus dies a few days before his 14th birthday. That's pretty lucky.
Oh.
That's pretty lucky, yeah. He was, I guess he was eating dinner, and then he took a drink of something, and then all of a sudden he started freaking out and died. It's very interesting.
Man, that is a classic. That's such a classic, like, Roman Empire move. Like, poison the wine.
Yeah. So yeah, Nero for sure had him poisoned. Or I guess I should say pretty much for sure. I guess, again, at this point in history, we take everything with a grain of salt, but we can be pretty positive that Nero had him poisoned. Although officially he had a seizure. That's what they said. Nero's like, yeah, he had a seizure. I've seen him have them before. It's a shame it was worse this time.
It is
Whoopie doop.
to go to the title of the show, Kakistocracy. It is like this whole like unfolding of events kind of shows you how like governments really like to operate pretty much no different from like criminal organizations. At the end of the day, it's like they say the government's the gang in charge or the gang that won at times. This is a prime example of that, I feel.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's the end of my take. Carry on, my wayward son.
So Agrippina starts to grasp at just kind of anything she can at this point once she realizes that like her ace in the hole has been eliminated. So she begins to speak to as many people as she can about.
This is why you don't just rely on like one good unit in your army or in your deck. You gotta build a diverse deck.
Yes.
Yeah.
You want to have.
You don't want to get hard countered.
You want to do multiple small units. That's my preferred. You like the MSU
go.
tactics. You don't want to
Zerg.
Yeah, you gotta not put all your eggs. You don't want to buy
a lot
the
of
super
tiny
heavy.
emperors.
A lot of
tiny emperors.
I mean, it's kind of what they were doing before with like the triumvirs and everything.
Yeah.
Anyway, so she starts talking to like senators and the Praetorian Guard and even Octavia, his wife, about how Nero is just a generally bad dude. and probably shouldn't be the emperor. And the idea of the Praetorian Guard going against the emperor isn't actually as dumb as it sounds, because Caligula...
Oh no, that only happened like every other emperor, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Now, this is still happening like 1 year into Nero being emperor, right?
Yeah, this is all happening pretty darn fast. All
I mean,
this
this
Okay.
is still happening in the 60s. I mean,
This is the... wait, is this the 60s? Or the, yes, I think this is the 50s still.
no,
Yeah.
I was referring to JFK, but
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Sorry I missed the joke.
no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
So,
It was a dumb joke.
yeah, Caligula before this got...
But
Not Claudius, but Caligula got assassinated by his own Praetorian Guard.
I remember like looking at the Wikipedia for Roman emperors and like the cause of death, and it's literally like betrayed by Praetorians, killed by Praetorians, stabbed to death by Praetorians, beheaded by Praetorians. Like it's...
I feel like the Praetorians were really the ones in charge of the Roman Empire this whole time. That's my conspiracy theory.
It's almost like those who hold the actual monopoly of violence can make the rules up whenever
Imagine
they want,
imagine if U.S. presidents were just frequently assassinated by the Secret Service.
Yeah, like for real, that's kind of the same thing.
Yeah, honestly, it's not that far off.
Oh, I'm sure we'll get there.
Oh my
Yes,
gosh.
give it 10 more years.
So Nero banishes his mother from the palace because he doesn't want mom meddling in his affairs.
Mom, get out of my room!
This is actually literal because Nero is having an affair with Claudia Acti at this time, and Agrippina didn't like this, I guess.
And how are they related?
I don't know off the top of my head. I will assume somehow. However, he mostly doesn't want her around making trouble, but like doesn't want to kill her quite yet. Like, he just doesn't want her, like, looking over his shoulder all the time. His freaking helicopter parents trying to live vicariously through their children.
Yeah. Fucking r/raised by narcissists is leaking.
Now, after she gets kicked out of the palace, some of her old rivals think this would be a great time to have her scratched off the list permanently. So, remember, Agrippina, she's been meddling in politics for, like, a really long time.
Yeah.
So she probably killed her husband to make her son emperor, and that worked out well for her. She's also political rivals with other people that she's killed at various times, including the woman that raised Nero while she was banished. Just had her killed. That's pretty cool. Like,
dude.
Thanks for taking care of my son, and now die.
What are these? The Clintons? Hey, we're topical here. Look, hey.
Hey. So her old opponents begin to spread rumors that she's been conspiring with rebellious Plautus, who was a potential heir to the throne, and Nero doesn't like this idea. He begins to think of ways in which his mother can, disappear. So Nero's first idea is to lose his mom in a boating accident.
Fuck yeah.
That's literally the plan.
Beautiful.
So while she's sailing across the Bay of Naples,
She had an accident at sea.
Nero arranged for the sabotage of her boat, which sank in the middle of the bay.
Yeah,
This worked?
Do you know how they sabotaged it? Like,
I don't know how they sabotaged it. It just said that the boat was sabotaged. I don't know. I'd like to imagine there's like just like a plug in the bottom that Nero just like snuck in and pulled it out, and then just like walked away whistling with it in his pocket.
Yeah.
Yeah, the reason Nero wanted her to drown was so it would look like an accident, right?
Hell yeah.
However, he abandons this idea because she survives.
Oh.
She apparently
just
swims.
swim back?
Yeah, just swims
He
back to work.
he didn't know that his mom knew how to swim.
Yeah. She made a raft out of turtles and back hair.
Like, he arranged for the boat to sink, and it's like 10 foot off the shore. Like, that'll take care of her.
Yeah.
And just like gets pushed back on, like, or it's not even deep enough to like drowning. Like she just was like,
She just
her
like
arms
stands
are
up.
flailing, and yeah, just stands up.
Dude, all she had to do was find the mermaid to teleport you back to the
Back to a new ship.
Yeah, to the new ship and the thing.
Right. So
you never played Sea of Thieves.
No, I'm sorry, I haven't. I mean, it sounds like it could be fun.
An obscure
that's a pretty fun game.
Video game reference in the middle of your history podcast.
That's what we live for. And so instead, he starts to spread a rumor indicating that his mother has information that will lead to the arrest of Hillary Clinton.
Fuck yeah.
Oh shit. I told you he was a time traveler.
Yeah, she was found. She shot herself in the back of the head twice. No. So allegedly, when Nero's hitman arrived to do the deed, Agrippina realized what was happening and asked him to sink his sword into her womb, as it was her own son that was ordering her death. Anyway, her death was reported as a suicide. Damn,
that's a pretty poetic way to go out.
Like, yeah, that's why it's like, was that really? Because, like,
yeah,
who's the source on that? The hitman? Like,
Crumbopulous Michael.
That sounds like the thing that like Shakespeare wrote in like
exactly
later,
right?
But it's like, damn, that's like, you know, my mom has embarrassed me on like some social media posts, but never like that.
Yeah, so for those keeping track at home, his mom killed his adopted mother and father-in-law, and now he's killed his brother-in-law and his mom. So this is a really nice family.
Yeah, it's a good track record.
Been spending most of my life living in a gangster's
Yeah, it literally
paradise.
does sound like a fucking like mafia story. Like,
well, I mean, hey, where's the mafia from?
Oh, wow.
Hey, when in Rome.
That's why you can't be racist against Italians.
Because the mob will come for you.
Actually, you can. And look, I don't know if you've heard about this, right? If you'll allow me a quick tangent, the Mario movie, the casting, they didn't cast an Italian as Mario. They casted, what is it, Chris Pratt? One of the Chris's?
They didn't.
Oh, like the new movie.
Wait,
yeah,
there's a new
yeah.
one?
They actually did. Yeah, they cast Chris Pratt as Mario.
Oh my gosh, I can't even comprehend that right now.
Yeah,
that's
to me, a Star-Lord, a Mario.
It's a me, Andy Dwyer.
Right.
But no, actually, some people are upset because it's like, where's the Italian representation in my Japanese video game movie?
Fictional story about a cartoon character.
They should make Mario Japanese, but have to do like a really bad Italian accent.
Oh my god,
that would be awesome.
I'm not gonna even attempt like to do that because I don't understand
why wouldn't they just get Charles Martinet at this point? Like,
I don't know.
That's the voice of Mario. Like,
that's the sound of Mario makes, right?
Yeah.
Bum, 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 bum. Killing our family, killing all of our family, so we can ascend the throne.
Yeah, so Nero's kind of interesting in that. Sorry, I'm just like, keep back on tack.
Just move along.
Nero's kind of interesting in that one thing that can be said about him that is sort of good is he doesn't take it upon himself to go out and like conquer a bunch of additional territory. In fact, Nero actually doesn't seem to like being terribly involved in ruling his empire at all. He spends a lot more time focused on his hobbies, which seems to be music and working out.
Hell yeah, dude. He's just like he's just a bro, dude. He would be like the Joe Rogan president.
The Chad Emperor.
He's just like, yeah, he's just hosting UFC fights.
I would vote for Joe Rogan to be president on the condition that he still has to do the podcast at least once a week from the Oval Office.
That would be the State of the Union. Yes, hell yeah. Let's go.
He gets to interview like Kim Jong-un and like Vladimir Putin or whatever. Like, Vlad, thanks for coming on the show, man. Like
all the heads of state end up getting smoked out.
He's so awesome. Yeah, so he builds a new gymnasium and a public bathhouse in the middle of Rome, and he encourages other nobility to work out there by gifting them vials of oil. And oil's like a after workout thing in Rome. You slather it on yourself after you're done. So he wants to, he wants them to work out. That's kind of what he's saying. It's like getting someone a treadmill, you know. It's
like the get in shape. It's like those national like get in shape initiatives.
Yeah, just giving out bottles of oil to everyone.
Did they do this to just look better, or did they actually think that it was like, yo, this will help you get swole? Rub this on your muscles and it'll absorb the oils and you'll get swole
what kind
faster.
of like is it just olive oil?
I assume it's just olive oil. I
That's
know
what
that
I
like
would think.
gladiators were like sponsored by olive oil companies in ancient
What?
Rome. Yeah, that was like a thing.
You go into combat, someone tries to grab you, you're just like slippery, you know,
Yeah.
they can't get a hold of you.
Exactly.
I know the Spartans would put oil on their bodies so they would look good when they died.
Huh.
When they get
it's funny, they were a bunch of fancy boys.
Yeah, they were very French over there.
No, I'm pretty sure they were Greek.
Okay, yes.
Come on, dude.
It's the bit. It's the bit that we do on this show.
French tendencies.
Olive oil.
Yeah, olive oil. He also he wants to host big athletic competitions, which he does in 60 AD. It features tons of events and competitors. It's kind of like the Olympics, right? Nero calls these games Neronia. So maybe
he's not self-centered at all.
No, not at all.
I mean, he's an emperor. What are you gonna do?
I feel like there was a recent world leader that also had like a bunch of sponsored things that were his name, but I can't remember. I think he was kind of more of an obscure figure.
Yeah, I feel like if we're thinking of the same leader, he also was more focused on his hobbies than doing anything of importance.
No,
like
that can't be right.
Okay,
yeah.
We're
thinking of somebody else.
Yeah, okay.
I do like that. Like, I would have loved to have seen this. I feel like this is a much more fun like emperor than like we're getting. In that, like, he just wants to party and like he wants everybody to get in shape and like work out and be swole,
rub olive oil all over themselves,
and just jam. Let's just fucking jam, man. We don't need to conquer any more territory. Let's just fucking have a noodle a little bit with me, bro, and then we'll go lift some weights. You know, slather ourselves in oil, look good, look fresh.
You know, did either of you guys ever watch that like? If the Warhammer 40k Emperor had a text-to-speech device.
Yes, I have.
No, I haven't seen that.
I'm just picturing whatever the Castellan guards are those the guys in 40k that are the Emperor's guards?
I think I know what you're talking
whenever
about,
those guys show up in that series and they're just like mostly naked and glistening with oil. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Anyway, so go watch 40k lore and then come back in 200 hours when you're about...
There's 200? I think you mean 200 billion hours. 40k lore is just like a black... is chaos. Chaos is the 40k lore. They are one and the same.
Yes. So amongst this focus on being a dude bro, his early administration's actually well regarded. But this is largely accredited to his advisor, Burrus, who's the one who's like actually doing a lot of the political stuff while Nero's like out pumping iron. Among the reforms enacted...
Hey, a good leader delegates.
Yes. Among the reforms enacted in the early years was a supervising office that controlled the actions of tax collectors, which was actually pretty good for the people, because it made it harder for the tax collectors to, abuse their positions and just like take money from people. And then they also established a system where slaves could petition and report to the authorities mistreatment by their, owners or whatever. So, like,
I think you mean prisoners with jobs.
yeah, the prisoners with jobs could report it when they were being abused by their.
Let's stay PC here, buddy. We don't want to offend the prisoners with slave owners. Prisoners with jobs owners. Okay, that's
the
a mouthful.
the employers of the prisoners.
The job creators for prisoners. The prisoner
Right.
job creators. That's what we're gonna go with. Okay. I just wanted to make sure we weren't being toxic for anyone.
So in 62 AD, though, there's a problem. Burrus dies. So now Nero's he's on his own, being the emperor, and he doesn't have his trusty advisor to do the work for him.
He couldn't put it like an ad on Craigslist.
Yeah, well, tragically, Craigslist didn't exist yet. So
Yeah, they have to like fucking sculpt it into a stone tablet and like put it at the gym that he made,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, just get whoever spots him.
yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah.
Is all his new advisors are just like jocks. They have no idea how to
Yeah,
run
they're just-
the country.
Fucking Giga Chads.
So Nero.
What if instead of building an aquifer, we just squat lift, we just power clean the water over into the city?
Oh my gosh. Just solving every problem with using as a reason to work out.
Yeah.
Dude, a little bit every as much as you can every day.
So Nero almost immediately holds a trial in which he accuses Antistius Sosanius of treason. And his treasonous act was apparently trash-talking Nero at a party with the other aristocrats.
Hell yeah.
Just like, could you imagine this guy's drunk and doesn't even remember what he said, and it's like
That is pretty shitty to do that to your bro.
Yeah. So Nero wants him executed, apparently, allegedly, but the Senate balks at this, and instead they want him exiled, which ends up being what happens, which is good for Antistius, I guess. Although there was also this, like, double mind game strategy, allegedly, that was happening, where Nero was going to trump up these charges against him, and he wanted the
There's
Senate...
that name again.
He wanted the Senate to, like, want him executed, and then Nero would pardon him so that way he would look chill. But then, since the Senate just wants him exiled, Nero's upset at the Senate for not, like, helping him to look better, apparently. This is his convoluted plan.
Please tell me he looks at them and says, "I am the Senate."
Well, he's playing 8D chess, and they're playing checkers.
Right.
That's what's happening here.
So relations with the Senate, they get kind of worse. Those darn senators. And so Nero, shortly thereafter, has two of his political opponents, Rebellius Plautus and Cornelius Sulla, executed.
Fuck yeah! I knew that's what you were gonna say. Like, I mean, when you say have them, it's like what he's gonna have them over for dinner and have a stern talking to them.
He's gonna have them attend a meeting about the great things Nero's doing to turn them around. Nero then also orders the execution of his now ex-wife, Octavia, on the charges of adultery. I love that, like, Nero's already divorced her. It's just like, oh, you're committing adultery, I'm gonna have you killed. It's like, that's not how that... isn't that not how that works?
You're never happy to see your ex fuck somebody else. Come on, let's get real.
I guess so. But yeah, Nero's already remarried a different woman named Poppaea. And yeah, he's his first wife executed over adultery. It makes perfect sense. Yeah, this is the point where Nero's public persona and approval starts to dip. Up to this point, he'd been literally doing, like, bread and circuses, so most people are pretty chill with him. However, you can apparently only murder so many of your family members before people start to think you might be a little too out there.
Yeah, I'm sure.
To throw a match.
All right, we were okay with the first 5 or 6, but we really liked your ex-wife. She was a good hostess. She played a good lute.
She made that good.
Or what was the
know.
pan flute? The pan flute. That's what they had back then.
Oh.
She squashed a good grape. Okay.
To throw a match on this kindling, the year is now 64 AD, and we've gotten to the Great Fire of Rome.
That was a good transition.
Thank you. In July of why was I about to say 1964? Jeez. In July of 64, no preceding numbers. It's hot in the city because the city's on fire, and it will continue to be on fire for about 9 days.
God damn.
My world's on fire. How about yours? That's the way I like it, and I never get bored. Yeah.
Hey now.
Honestly, might as well be "Walking on the Sun" is their better song. I think I have that on like my main playlist. That one's a banger. I think that one's underrated, especially compared to All Star. Just do yourself a favor and give that one a listen next time you're feeling blue.
Okay.
We're having a fire.
So there's a lot of rumors and conflicting information about the fire and Nero's role in it specifically. But what we do know is by the end of it, 3 of Rome's 14 districts are totally destroyed. 7 others have at least been partially damaged, and only 4 districts of the city are unharmed. So the city's been pretty thoroughly incinerated.
And what was do they know the cause? It was like a cow kicked a lantern over.
We're about to get to that. So this is where we get into the varying information. So we all famously know the story that as Rome burns, Nero's on the roof fiddling. And we sort of debunked that earlier by pointing out that the fiddle does not yet exist, but it's possible he had some other stringed instrument like a stringed lute or a lyre or a harp.
No, you're a liar, dude.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, or he's just a liar.
But the first report that I found of him playing some sort of instrument as Rome burns is from like the 9th century, so that seems kind of less likely.
Yeah.
But what is more likely...
Another one of those Shakespeare things.
Yeah, what's more likely but still kind of not certain is that Nero was singing as Rome burns, specifically singing the Sack of Illum. So...
Illum.
Is there a significance to...
Sack of Illum.
I'm not familiar with the song.
Well, it's I think it's from like the Trojan War, you know. It's like he's just singing about another city getting destroyed.
Okay.
I mean, if that's his MO, man, it's like what else are you going to do? People talk shit about the bard, but sometimes they come through in the end.
Yeah, possibly he was wearing a stage performer's costume while he did this.
My God, this guy's my favorite.
This report comes from Roman historian Cassius Dio, but he didn't live for almost 100 years after this. Nero may have allegedly had the fire started. There were reports of men running through the city throwing torches into buildings. It is unknown if Nero orchestrated this or not, but historian Suetonius, who was born only 5 years after the fire and therefore could have talked to living witnesses, said that men were definitely hired by Nero to start the fire, and also that Nero sang during the fire from the Tower of Maecenas. Finally, we get to Tacitus, who's actually alive at this time, but he's
more
only
like tap that ass. Am I right?
My God.
Oh my gosh.
It's fucking never stops.
If I keep swinging, eventually one of them will land.
I guess.
Dylan and Nero hanging out could be an interesting discussion.
Dude, like I said, he would be This guy would be so much fun to hang out with. That's how people. That's that's
Until
how you get
until you
elected.
accidentally say the wrong thing, and then he just
I want
orders
an
you killed.
emperor I
Yeah,
can
exactly.
have a beer with, and then get executed for what I said when I was drunk.
Fucking win-win, dude.
So Tacitus, he's also a senator eventually, and the Senate
We
hates.
forget about what I said when I was drunk.
God.
I didn't mean to call you that.
So Tacitus.
Yeah, Tacitus, he says that Nero was vacationing 35 miles away when the fire started, but that the men who started the fire were in the employ of Nero, and then Nero returns to Rome during the fire, and at one point sings from a private stage. Now, again, Tacitus is alive as this is happening, but he's only 8 years old, so questionable if he really would have been, like, first-hand witness, but he definitely could have heard from people who,
I can remember
were
a few
also
things
there.
from when I was 8.
Well, and also, like, the fire itself, I'm sure, if you were 8 years old, like, and that was happening, it would be, burned into your memory.
Oh,
Heyo.
this guy.
Like, yeah, like a big traumatic event like that.
So yeah, I guess thinking back that long ago in my life, the shit I remember from being a kid is probably the traumatic things.
Yeah.
So
I
this
definitely
seems like
remember-
the best account because the others were
I
all
always
like,
enjoyed a fire when I was kid too. Remember a lot of those. You had a bonfire and you'd sing together. Those memorable times.
So, yeah, so
Kumbaya.
it's like a similar story. There's a fire.
yeah, it's pretty much the
And
same thing.
people are singing.
the
yeah,
exact same thing.
The emperor, specifically.
Yeah, history repeats itself,
Were you not in the Boy Scouts with the Emperor? I was.
We'll get into why you wouldn't want to be in the Boy Scouts with the emperor in a little bit here.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, so why start the fire, though? Why burn your own city, especially the capital? So allegedly Nero wanted to clear the town out so he could rebuild the city the way he wanted to.
Hell yeah! He's playing SimCity IRL.
Jesus.
He just went to the disaster tab and was like, "Fire, let's go."
Yeah, I mean, we've all done it.
We want to put in that new airport needs room. We need it to get the achievement. All right.
Yeah, exactly. And it's probably the new SimCity where you only have like 4 square kilometers, so you really have to just demolish the old stuff if you need something new.
Eminent domain, people. Come on. Progress.
Yeah. So whether this was his plan or he just takes advantage of the fire, this is what ends up happening. Nero gives extensive guidance on rebuilding after the destruction and also uses the opportunity to expand the palace compound a full 2.5 square kilometers.
Oh.
He needs more room to work out.
I need to be able to run a 10K and not see a commoner the entire time or repeat the route.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this expansion doesn't end up being completed before his eventual demise, and therefore it's never actually fully completed, but apparently that was his plan, was to just like basically have the most gigantic sprawling palace compound ever.
He wanted to get on MTV Cribs.
So you've got a problem, right? A big fire just happened, and there's rumors spreading like, wildfire that you did it. So what do you do?
You're on fire tonight, dude.
Thank you. Win in Rome, right?
Oh, shit.
You start another fire.
Yeah.
I mean, he ends up starting a bunch of small individual fires after this.
What?
We'll talk
That
about
was a
that.
joke. That was a joke answer.
What would you do, Billy, if somebody's blaming you for doing a horrible thing? What's one of your options?
Order them executed.
Just kill them all.
Yeah. I'm the
I
God
have
King Emperor.
I have a feeling that's not far off from what happened.
Well, he decides to blame the fire on that wacky cult that's been spreading all over the place. Those guys, they all...
Oh, I know the one.
They all worship some dude they think was God's son, and it was also God at the same time. I think,
Yeah.
But isn't he also just 1/3 of God?
however that works. So Christians, yeah, that's the ones. They
Christians.
yes, this is so from Tacitus. This is one of his. This is a direct quote.
Back when Jesus had short hair.
To get rid of the report, Nero fastened the guilt and inflicted the most exquisite tortures on a class hated for their abominations, called Christians by the populace. Christus, from whom the name had its origin, suffered an extreme penalty during the reign of Tiberius at the hands of one of our procurators, Pontius Pilate, and a most mischievous superstition, thus checked for the moment, again broke out not only in Judea, the first source of the evil, but even in Rome, where all things hideous and shameful from every part of the world find their center and become popular. So Tacitus really doesn't like Christians either, as you can tell.
Well, I mean, was he wrong, really? No, I'm just...
Oh my gosh.
When in Rome.
When in Rome. So yeah, Nero starts killing a lot of Christians. And this is where the small fires come in. Apparently he puts some on sticks and then burns them alive at night to serve as street lamps.
Oh my god. Holy shit. That's fucking metal.
I guess that's the other use of oiling yourself up.
Happy Halloween, everybody. Oh, Jesus.
Maybe it was all a trick. He's like, hey, you want to come work out with me? Oh, here's some oil. Psych, and just tosses a match on him.
It was actually lantern oil.
Oh,
no, it's a cigarette.
Oh, a cigarette.
I mean, it would have to be like one he rolled, because I imagine they don't have like...
Right. Well, somebody else probably rolled it for him, because it's...
Do you think... Did they smoke back then? Like, what...
Probably. Like,
did they have hookahs?
I don't know when, like...
I mean, they didn't have tobacco, right? Because that's a New World. But
maybe they'd smoke cloves or
smoked
hash.
Something else.
Yeah, that's a great question.
Nero's also responsible for the deaths of both Peter and Paul, like the actual apostles. Yeah, so Peter, he gets crucified upside down.
Wasn't one of them a beetle also? Or am I thinking of somebody else? Paul? Wasn't he a beetle?
Yeah, Paul McCartney. No, so
that's
I looked
the one
up.
You're talking about, right?
I looked up when did people start smoking, and Google auto-corrected it to start smoking weed.
Oh my god!
Go with that. But it said at least the 3rd millennium BCE.
Nice.
Fuck yeah!
As far as written history is how far back there's archaeological evidence of smoking
People have
pot.
been doing psychedelics and things for like forever.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Since there were people, as far as we're aware.
Legalize it, cause...
So Nero was probably high as fuck. Let's be real.
Or maybe he wasn't. Maybe that was the problem.
I mean, here's the thing. Okay, dude sounds like he has a pretty like rock star lifestyle. He's probably on something. I bet you whatever kind of amphetamines or like uppers they had, if they had anything that would like, get
he was probably drinking a lot.
Yeah,
I would also, yeah, definitely.
Vino.
A lot of wine out of lead cups, probably.
He has like fits of rage, so that would fit that, I guess.
Yeah. I know. I definitely imagine when he's singing during the fires, he's just drunk as shit. Like
I choose to believe that. Yes.
Yeah.
I bet he would have loved Guitar Hero. And Rock Band.
What the
I bet he would have like fucking loved that shit.
Oh no.
Isn't that the whole point of an empire though? Is like you go around, you accrue a lot of resources through, imperialism, and then you use those resources to throw a big party. And he's in the stage. It's like when you're in the stage of the empire where you have all the resources, throw the big party.
Yeah,
like,
show everyone that you can play Fire and Flames on Expert.
Exactly.
Yeah, so through the Fire and Flames, exactly. That's fitting for Nero.
I thought so.
Yeah. So he crucifies Peter upside down, and then he beheads Paul. I stumbled upon this quote while researching the show. And then, yeah, it says, I don't know, I liked it. It was a good summary of just being a bad person, but when Paul was taken in chains from his filthy Roman dungeon and beheaded at the order of the opulent madman Nero, two representatives of humanity faced off, one of the best and one of the worst. We remember both men for what they truly were, which is why we name our sons Paul and our dogs Nero.
Yeah, okay, but how much could Paul bench?
You know?
Okay,
yeah.
All right,
That's a solid point. That's a solid
Let's take
point.
this all into consideration here. Okay,
I'm probably biased because I'm named Paul, so I just thought that was nice. But
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
But I have no idea how much the Apostle Paul could bench. More than me, probably. Actually, or maybe less than me, because they're all malnourished at this point. Except for Nero. Yeah. He's getting all the meat and stuff he wants. So, yeah, later the same year as the fire, Nero marries a man named Pythagoras.
Excuse me? Like the triangle?
Yeah, I guess so. It's kind of weird how little information there is about this.
Wait, he marries a man.
Yes, it's just like an offhanded thing that happens.
So, like, now, I'm ignorant. I don't want to offend anybody. Trigger warning, I guess.
All right, we're going to be editing this part out.
My understanding of homosexuality in the ancient world is that, like, dudes would fuck, but it was basically like you would fuck your bros, but you would still marry a woman so that you could have, like, a family.
Well, Nero's still married to Poppaea at this point. He's just
Oh, I forgot about polygamy, of course.
He's also now married to Pythagoras. Also, during the ceremony, Nero's the one who wears the bridal regalia.
That is fucking awesome.
Yeah,
I love this.
Not much is known about Pythagoras, but yeah.
And I imagine that he is also covered in oil.
He's just... Hopefully they don't do that part of the ceremony where they like jointly light a unity candle.
Yeah.
No,
right?
okay, so I imagine the groom is shirtless, but he's got a bow tie on, lathered in oil, and then Nero is in like a really skimpy like wedding dress.
Yeah.
But like it shows his like knees and thighs, and they're oiled up. As well as his like shoulders and arms and breasts. I imagine he's definitely showing cleavage in the dress. Let's get
for sure. Oh my god, this is fucking great.
Could you imagine being the emperor, the most powerful man in the world, and also a bottom?
Oh my gosh. I remember that back when Pete Buttigieg was like, primarying to be president. It was like, I heard that as a joke. Is like, does it matter like if Pete is like a bottom or the top? Like, would that affect your vote for him? Like, I
always wondered, like, I always thought that if I were gay, I would be too curious to not want to be a switch hitter. You know, it's like, how do you not dabble in both? But while you're there, I don't know.
Win in Rome.
Win in Rome. French tendencies.
Now that's not fair. Let's not conflate those two things.
Okay.
Let's not get canceled before we even have a...
Either way, this wedding sounds lovely.
Yeah, so they have a nice wedding. Like I said, not much is known about Pythagoras other than he was a freedman who just accompanied Nero all over the place, apparently.
I want to make a stoner comedy about Nero's gay wedding.
That'd be pretty funny.
We've already established they'd have weed back then, so like...
Yeah, true.
Why not, Yes. Okay, so we'd get Seth Rogen, you think, to play Nero? And then
Jonah Hill's gonna be Pythagoras, right?
Oh.
How do we get Dave Chappelle in there?
He could be the priest or whatever, right?
Yeah.
I mean, is Dave Chappelle... Well, okay. Anyway, so Nero's married now to two people.
Right. A man and a woman. The next year, though, while Poppaea is pregnant, Nero apparently has a fit of rage and beats her to death.
Oh shit.
Although she may
Shit.
have also died of as a result of a miscarriage. We don't fully know. There's conflicting sources on that.
Yeah.
I feel like one might have led to the other.
Perhaps. This is back when you like blame women for everything. So it's like, oh, you had a miscarriage, you did it on purpose. And beats her.
I was also saying like the beating could lead to the miscarriage, which causes internal hemorrhaging.
That's actually way more likely. I'm stupid. Sorry.
And then you beat her more because she's getting blood everywhere.
So yeah,
Come on, babe. This is my new palace.
Yeah, the one we just built after the fire. Come on. This is pretty bad. Don't do this. So after her death, though, I guess he does feel bad, and he holds one of the most massive and extravagant funerals in the history of Rome. So I guess that makes it better.
It's too late to apologize. It's too late.
I'm just gonna stand here and watch you burn. Anyway.
Nice.
Cringe.
Nero then remarries Statilia Massalina, which is another woman. Briefly,
Another Italian name, yes.
Right. Before marrying Sporus.
Yeah, I was waiting for Sporus.
He's another man. Sporus, Nero has him castrated before marrying him. So I guess
he switch hitter, like I said.
Right.
He's a man. He wanted to experience the world. How do you not respect that?
How old was Sporus?
Yeah, we don't have an exact date, but he was a young man. We
Oof.
don't know exactly how young, but he had likely been like a child sex slave before this.
Yeah.
Oof.
Not super great, no.
He had him rowed over on the Lolita longboat.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Nero is also like doing bad by the other aristocracy, not aristocracy. I was saying part of our name. Anyway, so he continues.
It's not like one doesn't lead to the other.
This is very true. He continues to hold his Neroniums, and he actually starts to participate in them and like performing and singing on stage. And the Senate thought this is disgrace. It's disgraceful that the emperor would do this. I like the reference that senators were willing to do just about anything to get him off stage. Like, what does that mean exactly? Like, they're like throwing tomatoes at him, or are they like, you're my liege?
I imagine they get those like swivel around chairs like from the reality TV shows, and they hit the button and they're like, "I'm sorry, but you just don't have the right stuff."
And then he gets slimed.
They have like a Celtic rebel there. It's like, I'm sorry, but this is by far the most abysmal performance I have ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
They just hire streakers to derail the performance and run across the stage naked.
Look, the last show I watched at the Coliseum, the performer literally died at the end, and that was far better than this.
Rude.
Yeah, so he also has got a lot of money problems. That's like a recurring theme with a lot of these leaders.
Or maybe you just hit him with a tomato really, really hard.
I just remembered that tomatoes are a New World food, so I guess they had to hit him with something else.
What do they make the pasta sauce with? They're Italians. What are you talking about? Of course they've got tomatoes. You don't know nothing.
So, since Rome got destroyed, he needs a lot of money to rebuild. So he starts going after any excuse he can to investigate the senators and like confiscate their wealth for like any infraction he can find. And so they're upset about this, right? And so some of the other higher ups in Roman society, they start plotting about overthrowing him. Seneca, the famous philosopher and playwright who used to be Nero's tutor.
You know what? So at one of the many ski resorts I venture to, there's an area of it called Seneca, and it's like the bougie area, and I always wondered where that name came from, and I always thought it was a Native American tribe, but apparently I just don't know anything about history. even though I'm hosting a history podcast. Look at me.
Yeah.
Seneca.
Also in Japanese, Seneca means back. So.
Back. So back was plotting to overthrow him.
What did Seneca do? What did he do? What was he famous for as a philosopher?
Backing that thing up.
Yeah,
Oh.
exactly. Same with his plays. They were all performed backwards. That's why they were so famous.
Oh shit.
But yeah, he was complicit in a failed attempt to assassinate Nero at like a big like performance and like public games, while the emperor's in the crowd and the assassin was supposed to like sneak up and kill him, do like a Abraham Lincoln on him.
Yeah, I was just about to say like a John Wilkes Booth, just got him in the back of the head.
Yeah, but that doesn't work out, and so then he gets ordered by the emperor to commit suicide, for his failure or being a jerk to him.
They're so into pageantry. That's why this is why I like almost believe the myth about the mom like getting stabbed through her cooch, is that
Well, it wasn't
like
the cooch; it was in her womb.
Yeah, well, where does the cooch lead to?
Oh my gosh!
All right, come on, people.
I don't think that's how they did it, but
but like because they're so like, and I feel like leaders, a lot of like political figures, especially like the kind of poopy ones, they're very into like showmanship and pageantry. I mean, the guy's literally like performing weekly, like he is the podcasting. If Nero was alive today, he'd have a podcast.
Yeah,
probably.
That's fair.
He would be playing Valorant. He would be a Twitch streamer, actually.
Yeah.
Because he's a performer. He would be doing like lip syncs, like recorded lip syncs on like TikTok and stuff, and like doing like the dances and stuff, like the 2-steps, and then he would be playing Valorant and like and CS or probably not CS:GO. Because he's a young kid, so he'd probably be playing more like what's the one, Rainbow Six. He'd be playing Rainbow Six. Who do you think he would main in Rainbow Six, Nero?
I know nothing about Rainbow Six.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right, well, who do you think he'd main in Valorant then?
The dude Phoenix. He throws.
Yeah, I was gonna say Phoenix.
Yeah. All right, bro. He would totally be like, yeah, bro. Let's work out, bro. I'm flaming hot.
Yeah.
Another thing that was turning.
So Nero is live streaming his.
Yeah, he's a streamer, but he's also a wannabe architect. He's doing architecture streams. So another thing that's turning the public will against him, funny as it sounds, is his architecture. Because remember, he's like taking a first-hand role in rebuilding Rome after the fire. Right? He's given very specific directions of what he wants. Nero's ideas are very like he's a Greekophile or whatever. He loves Greek stuff. If you couldn't tell from the fact that he married a boy. So
oof.
He wants all Greek architecture. So Roman citizens suddenly feel like they're having like a Greek city built up around them in the ashes of Rome. Now, in America, we probably can't tell the difference between Greek and Roman architecture, but they're different, I promise.
The columns are like shaped slightly differently.
And this was very upsetting.
I think the roof was a different shape.
Yeah.
I studied all of this at one point, but it's all gone now. I've replaced it with memes and
you
like.
You could say it's all Greek to me.
Oh. When in Rome.
Oh shit! There it is.
I'm sorry. That's like the lamest recurring bit that I keep.
I know. I fucking love it.
I should point out that the damage of the fire was an unknown number of Alaskas. Who can say?
Oh yeah, that's true.
We also don't know how many AKs they could have theoretically made by like forging all of the metal from the scrap after the fire or whatever. Think of how much more Rome could have ruled if they had like accidentally forged an AK-47.
Someone's gonna come to this podcast just like on this episode, and they're gonna be like, "What the fuck are they talking about?" Like,
just the AK-47. You also kind of need the gunpowder.
Well,
shells and things.
yeah, they go over to China and they grab some powder and, they work the rest out.
Pow, pow, pow.
Anyway, so he loves Greece so much he decides to take a tour of Greece in 66 because remember Greece is like under Roman control at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking at the board game map, right, with the throne seat in the middle.
Right.
I was looking at that earlier, and I was like, oh yeah, they have Athens and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
This is kind of like that classic thing, though, where like the empire expands and then it brings stuff back into the imperial core, and the people in the imperial core are like, that's not the stuff I like.
Why does no one speak Latin in Rome anymore, huh?
Yeah, huh? Come on. I'm sick of all these Greek restaurants popping up between the laundromats.
Spanakopita again.
Oh, Egyptian takeout, huh?
I think pasta. You're mistaken. Spanakopita is a holiday.
Spanakopita. I just watched that episode like right before we fucking started recording.
Such a good episode.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites.
Holy shit. He's rusty. That's from the exact same episode.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Shut up. So Nero's serving Spanakopita on Spanakopita.
Yeah, he's in Greece in 66. And he performs while in Greece the poem Troika, which recounts the burning of Troy.
That's the one he's reported to have sang?
That's the one he's... no, it's just different. That's the Sack of Ilum.
That's right. His Sack of Ilums.
And then the audience was allegedly stunned at the passion with which the emperor delivered the poem. So that, I guess that helped with, the rumors about him being responsible for starting Rome on fire.
Oh, my.
His, guilt was coming through? Damn.
So it's about this time the revolts start to pop up, as they do. So you need money, right? So the other way to get it, besides robbing the senators on trumped-up charges, is to tax people, right?
Yeah.
So one group that's upset about these increased taxes are the Jews. And they start to rebel, So over in Israel, there's some, extremist Jewish groups that, they start to rebel in, one of the port cities. And then in retaliation... Roman forces enter the temple, the holiest site in Judaism, and they sack it. And so this turns like a...
They put it in their Sack of Ilum.
Yes,
right?
Exactly. This turns a small rebellion of mostly extremists into a giant one. Is pretty much the entire Jewish population is outraged that the Romans would do this. So another rebellion is happening in Gaul. These Romans are commanded by Virginius Rufus. Gaul's kind of up by Germany, in case you guys weren't familiar.
I was not.
So the Romans in this area are commanded by Virginius Rufus, and he's able to put down the rebellion. But after their victory, the army actually wants to declare Virginius the new emperor. But he's a gentleman, I guess. He refuses and he retires from service. And then meanwhile, Galba, the governor of Spain, he's also kind of an open rebellion at this point. So everything's just kind of falling apart all around him. So sensing that danger is just sort of everywhere, and that perhaps his empire is unraveling, and realizing that there's a lot of people in the capital that want him, dead, Nero plans to flee Rome. He tries to gather members of the Praetorian Guard to help him flee to Egypt, which he thinks would be a cool place to hang out.
Egypt is a cool place to hang out. I've never been there, but I can just kind of tell.
The pyramids are they're a lot younger at this point.
And I know
cool.
They've got hookahs down there. They've got hash down there.
Oh yeah.
Egypt,
I guess
so.
now to put some perspective on this, technically speaking, Nero is closer to us than he is to when the pyramids were originally constructed, which is a crazy way to think about how old those buildings are.
Yeah.
So
I've never been to Egypt, but have you ever seen those pictures? Like, you see pictures of the pyramids, and you're like, "Oh, this is so cool!"
But then you see
like
them
out
at
in
a
the
different
desert.
angle, and then
And it's the city behind it. It's fucking awful. It's like all the magic of this is gone for me.
Honestly, I think that's cool in a weird way. Like,
it's cool that there's like a modern civilization that's just around these giant monuments from thousands.
Yeah, like old ass monuments. Yeah.
Cities never die; they just evolve. Like everywhere there's ever been a city, more or less, there is still a city.
For the most part, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if that's completely true.
There's like the underwater places and stuff where like the sea level changed, and that underwater archaeology is kind of a cool field. But
oh, you mean Florida in 5 years?
Perhaps. We shall see. Seems like a problem for it's a future Kakistocracy episode.
Yeah,
that's all I see. But anyway, so he tries to gather up members of the Praetorian Guard, and the Praetorian Guard are like, "Nah, we're actually declaring our support for that Galba guy who's in the rebellion against you." And he is like, "Oh, crap." So Nero, out of options, disguises himself as a beggar and slips out of the palace, taking refuge.
Hell yeah! All of those years of theater, of being a lame-ass theater kid, finally pay off, and he puts his acting talents to practical use.
Aren't you the emperor? No.
Spare a coin for an old beggar.
So he takes refuge in the villa of his servant Phaon, and he kind of seems to realize what's coming to him, and he orders his few remaining companions to dig a grave. A messenger arrives at the villa with the news that the Senate has declared the emperor an enemy of the state.
Oh, shit.
He was to be executed immediately. Nero decided he would rather commit suicide than be executed. And he says this, allegedly, "Like an artist, I die," and he stabs himself in the throat.
Huh.
Hell yeah.
He also might not have actually needed to do this because apparently the messenger was actually in error. The Senate had voted to remove the emperor, but they apparently didn't want to kill him because they wanted to preserve the royal bloodline because they're all
yeah.
so
I
dumb.
was gonna say.
Oh my!
Didn't they exile the old guy?
So, yeah. I mean, I just think that's hilarious that like they didn't want to kill him because they wanted him to produce an error, like this dude you hate. But it's like, oh, well, but as long as he can pass on his blood, the blood's what's important. You see, you need the blood if you're going to have an empire.
Again.
The Joestar bloodline.
Fucking cringe.
Yeah.
I was going to say, though, because it's like they exiled everyone else, like the guy who was talking shit and things, and it's like, honestly, it's like, Nero, I mean, he seems like, compared to like, King John or whatever, he doesn't really seem that fucked up, except for I guess setting the town on fire. That's pretty low.
No, he seems just more like he didn't do anything.
He's like the Joker president,
right? Like
I feel like
he just seems like he did nothing. He became emperor and just partied for how long was his rule? Like 14 years?
14 years. Yep.
14. Yeah, he just fucking went ham for 14 years.
Look, he was passionate and body positive.
He's a cool guy.
It is interesting that it's like you fight so hard to be emperor, and then it's just like, okay, I'm not going to enact policy. I'm going to like just use it to be a famous guy and like party, just to be like the dude,
the celebrity emperor.
Yeah,
be the guy. Yeah.
But yeah,
be the one that everybody loves.
That's Nero. Following Nero's death, there was basically a national holiday in Rome where citizens celebrated the death of the emperor.
Oh my!
And then
hell yeah,
Nero's death ended the Julian dynasty, and it left confusion as to the fate of the throne. leading to the year of 4 emperors, as 69 AD is known.
Nice.
So, yeah, while Rome would survive, Nero had kind of shaken it. And it's a good thing. Well, I shouldn't say it's a good thing. I don't know if
wait
it's really...
wait a moment. You're saying there were 4 emperors? Isn't that like maybe reminiscent of like some kind of horseman's? Because isn't it rumored that Revelations was like an analogy for the rule?
Well,
of
there's
Nero?
4 emperors in a row in 1 year. Like they ruled for this guy ruled for a few months, and then this guy ruled for a few months, and then that guy
But
ruled.
no, I was curious because I've heard it said that the Book of Revelations is actually a metaphor for the rule of Nero, and that people in that time thought that was the end of the world. So that
There
like
were
some of
a
the
lot
stories from that were like kind of retellings or like metaphors for what was going on.
I mean, there were a lot of Christians contemporarily that they thought that Nero was the Antichrist, basically.
Oh
So
yeah, because like the 666 was supposed to be like his name.
I was about to say, yeah,
which is also possibly 616, but yeah, that's a whole different story.
What happened to the world in the year 666?
What happened to the... That would be an interesting
That's a
topic.
topic for another episode. Why don't you research it?
The
buddy?
year 666. We'll see if...
So what did we learn?
We learned...
From emperors.
Empires
can survive pretty shitty leaders because there's...
we learned about oiling up your chest after a workout.
Yeah, do that, kids.
Marry children.
Don't
turn them into eunuchs.
Don't do that. Don't. Let the children play.
Have your mom stabbed in the womb.
Make Joe Rogan president.
Apparently, looking at this, there was a belief in the Christian community that Nero would return as the Antichrist, and so that's fun.
So that's something to look forward to.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. No. The number 666 in the Book of Revelations is a code for Nero. It's a common belief.
Called it. See, I know things about history. Remember when I got the date right?
Yeah.
I'm
not
a
a specific date, just the particular century that it was happening in.
I was gonna say, the Christians really didn't like Nero, but yeah, I guess he was like turning them into lampposts. So
not a good way to become popular.
Yeah.
I guess yeah. I was a little sympathetic, like maybe ironically, just because like you can't help but be a little sympathetic to somebody who just loves to party and who just loves to like put on a show and have a good time.
He was a crazy dude.
But like there is like all the murder. There's and like kind of superfluous murder and like the silliness of the fire. He is like the Joker president, because that is like the thing, or the president, excuse me, the Joker emperor. Has there been like an alternate universe comic book where like the Batman and the Joker go back in time and Joker is the Emperor of Rome? Because like there was one where they go back into feudal Japan and then Batman gets to be a samurai, I guess.
Oh, that's
so like
cool.
let's do one where he's like a Praetorian guard and he has to like kill Nero. But Nero's the Joker and he's like, why so Sagittarius or whatever?
Why so Sagittarius? What even? Sure.
When in Rome.